At this point, I just got to say, I really appreciate Byron Donald, okay? He is an amazing congressman. Drop down below in the comments if you guys think that Byron Donald is an amazing congressman, okay? And, you know, another one of the things that you see here is the Democrats, they just make so many excuses for illegal immigration. They make more excuses for illegal immigration than a child for doing something wrong. All right, it is absolutely mind-blowing how they sit here and try to gaslight and redirect and deflect and confuse and manipulate whenever we bring a common sense to the table and hold them accountable for their poor decisions. Okay, it is mind-blowing. But shout out to Byron Donald. He absolutely dismantles these woke libtards here in this clip. And we're going to get right into it. Shout out to the King Squad. Smash the like button. Hit subscribe. Let's go.
Your lady yields back, Chair, and I recognize Mr. Donalds from Florida.
Thank you, Chairman. To piggyback off my colleague, Governor Pritzker, how much does the state of Illinois spend on illegal immigration every year?
Again, illegal immigration, that's a federal responsibility. They could tell how much is wasted as a result of their failures.
Governor, don't you keep track of how many people are on your Medicaid rolls, how many people who are illegal immigrants in the state of Illinois who are getting actually benefits in your state? Doesn't your government keep track of that?
They don't get Medicaid in Illinois or any state, as far as I know.
Governor Pritzker, you do not keep track of any public service dollars in the state of Illinois that goes to illegal immigrants or goes to people in your state who are not legal residents of the United States and of the state of Illinois. You don't keep track of that.
We absolutely keep track of our budget. We're very closely, and in fact, it's been balanced for 7 years in a row, unlike the Republican before me. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. I noticed that in the state of Illinois, you guys don't really keep track of your money, because I asked your mayor in Chicago similar question about a month ago, and he didn't have an answer. It was quite interesting. I think this might be an Illinois problem. Governor Hochul, in your state, you are spending about roughly $4 billion on illegal immigration, and at the same time, you are actually asking the federal government for $4 billion to finish Penn Station. Don't you think it would be better to stop funding illegal immigrants in your state and actually use those resources to finish Penn Station as opposed to coming to the federal government for the money?
Wow.
Penn Station is owned by Amtrak, not by the state, so it's an appropriate use of their dollars, and Donald Trump has agreed to spend upwards of $7 billion. I appreciated that very much. What we spend on immigrants, the immigrants who are here hardworking to live a life and working on our farms and taking care of our parents in nursing homes and taking care of our children, they have been coming here for 400 years. And we don't keep track of individuals based on their status. We make sure that people have services so we don't end up with an unexpected.
So essentially what you're telling me is that you keep no track of money that is going to people who are not legal in the United States, resources that are taken away from New Yorkers, resources that are taken away from Illinoisans. You guys do not keep track of any of this.
You know what's really challenging is that many people came here with legal status. I mean, temporary protective status, 300,000.
Do you
all of a sudden they wake up one day and it's gone.
Do you go along with the strategy from the Biden administration, which massively expanded immigration protocols that overwhelmed your city and overwhelmed your state? Do you agree with that?
We call for secure borders. We call for this body to
I
do
never
its
remember
job.
you calling for secure borders at all, Governor Hochul.
We certainly have.
That
we
doesn't
certainly
sound
have.
like him to my memory.
Many conversations I had with the White House, and we asked for federal resources. I mean, you're putting a federal problem on our laps, and you know what? It gets old after a while. I wish you would just do your job.
If your
here
party
and
actually would
pass
do the job of
meaningful
securing the
reform.
nation the way President Trump has now had to do twice, we wouldn't be in this predicament. Wouldn't you agree? Do you agree or disagree that securing the nation's borders is the job of the President of the United States? President Trump has done that job twice now.
Well,
And previous Democrat presidents have not done that job. Wouldn't you agree with that?
this has been a problem that's been in place since I was a young staffer here on Capitol Hill. We worked on immigration, and Ronald Reagan signed amnesty for 3 million people.
You know, it's interesting you bring up Reagan's amnesty in '86. You know, part of that deal was to actually build border wall and secure it. But the Democrat Party refuses to build border wall. You oppose it every single time. Is that your position? Do you now support border walls,
There
Governor
has
Hochul?
been many times when bipartisan legislation is presented to this body, and people just walk away from it. They refuse to do the hard work of governing like governors like us have to do every single day. When I leave here, I'm going to go home and govern a state. I'm not going to tweet about this experience because I have too much work to do taking care of New Yorkers. And
You're really not doing a good job, Governor Hochul, because a lot of New Yorkers are actually coming into my state. In Florida, many of them, they come all the time because they actually want to come to a state that is well run, that protects citizens, does not allow illegal aliens to victimize citizens like they are victimized in the state of New York, like they are victimized in the state of Illinois, like they are victimized in the state of Minnesota. They choose states like Florida and Texas to find safer places to live and raise their families. Hold on, Governor Hochul. We've had enough time.
Crime rates are much
Governor
lower
Walz,
than
you've been
yours.
sitting over there
Much
pretty
lower.
quiet. I got a question for you.
I love to talk. Thank you, Congressman.
Fair enough. You said earlier that the ICE agents under the orders of President Trump are a modern-day Gestapo. Do you realize how disgusting a phrase that is, considering the history of Nazi Germany? Would you like to recant that statement?
What I said, Congressman, and I have a long history of supporting law enforcement, I said President Trump was using them as his modern-day Gestapo, not identifying who you are, coming up in unmarked vans, taking people away and giving...
Is it the responsibility of ICE to actually deport illegal aliens in the United States who are here? Isn't that their responsibility?
Yes, it is, Congressman, except that the Constitution is not an inconvenience. It's not an either-or.
Nobody
You
said
can
an
do your
inconvenience.
job and
He have a
practice
responsibility to deport illegal aliens, and the
Through due
president is
process.
going through that process right now.
We are
And
not
let's
just-
be very clear, the previous administration, they abused every process there is under border laws to allow more than 10 million people into the country illegally.
Sheesh.
And this is a burden on all Americans. And so the president is doing his job. So it is sick to refer to Americans who are ICE agents as Gestapo. Governor, you're wrong. You need to apologize to these agents. They're doing their jobs. They are Americans. They serve this country with honor and decency and respect. Do not diminish their work simply because you tried to make a cheap point that you could tweet. I yield back.
Facts. Wow. Shout out to Byron Donalds, man. Shout out to Byron Donalds. Oh my gosh, what a great guy. What a great guy. Shout out to Byron Donalds. I'm just absolutely blown away by this clip here. Okay, let me know your thoughts about this. What do you think of Byron Donalds? Let me know your thoughts of Byron Donalds down below in the comments. Do you think he's a great guy? Let me know your thoughts, okay? And typical Democrats. I really think that the people who voted for those governors that Byron Donalds was, holding accountable, the people who voted for those governors are part of the problem. Okay, that was something that crossed my mind as I was watching this clip. And typical Democrat talking points: deflect, and then blame the government. Okay, blame the federal government for the states not doing their jobs. That was really what I saw. Okay, that was kind of like how it struck me. And another thing too is most of these Democrat governors and stuff like that should be out of office. Like they don't provide any value. They just sit here and destroy and deflect and destroy and experiment and destroy. And then you have Tampon Tim out here trying to have a serious conversation. Like we didn't see what he did when he was campaigning with Ku Klux Kamala Harris. So he's automatically disqualified every time he speaks. Okay, as soon as he opens his mouth, mute. Okay, that's really how I see Tampon Tim. Okay, Tim Waltz. What are some more Tampon Tim Waltz names? Okay, they said No Balls Waltz. All right, there were some more, but they slipped my mind. Anyways, I am really blown away at how Byron Donalds handled this here. Okay, one of the things too is he had mentioned he addressed how a lot of these people, these Democrats that are living in these, liberal territories, these liberal run-down cities and stuff like that, these liberal areas that are torn up by the liberals, they're moving to conservative areas. Okay, they're moving to Republican areas. All right, red states. All right, and but the problem with that is, I just want to address this, is they take their liberalism and try to conform the Republican area with their liberal ideologies and values, and they start to try to mess things up over there. They try to turn parts of Texas into California. They'll move to Florida and try to turn parts of Florida into California, or like New York City or something. But not as fast paced necessarily, but with all the messed up ways of thinking and doing things that they have. The very same things that destroyed where they came from, they try to implement where they move to. And it is just like that is just mind blowing, okay? That stuff just doesn't work. But let me know what you guys think about that down below in the comments. And yeah, really blown away by this clip here, all right? And, you know, we also got a special visit from Tampon Tim Waltz. I did not expect that. But, yeah, Byron Donald's absolutely annihilated these ridiculous libtards. And, yeah, Byron Donald's is a rock star. Drop down below in the comments if you guys think Byron Donald's is a rock star. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Shout out to the King Squad. Smash the like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.